Hey guys, I'm Emma Ryan, integrative nutrition health coach and founder and owner of Plant. Today we are making one of my favorite desserts. I'm a big chocolate connoisseur, and this is a pecan and chocolate tart. We actually made this last night. We had a Valentine's Day dinner at Plant, and this was the dessert we served, and everybody loved it. So again, we decided why not share. So to make our crust, we're gonna use a food processor, and you're gonna add a cup of pitted dates to the food processor. These are like my favorite treat. They're what I like to call nature's candy because they're so sweet, but it's good for you too. So a cup of dates, and I'm gonna add 2 cups of pecans. If you're allergic to pecans or don't like pecans, you can sub this out for any other nut. You could use walnuts, hazelnuts, cashews, almonds, anything would work. So just this, and then I almost forgot our salt. So half a teaspoon of Himalayan salt. Sprinkle that in, and then you'll just blend this up until it has created a dough. You do want the pecans to still have a little bit of a crunch, but you need the dates to be mixed enough that they create more of a paste so it sticks together. Okay, this looks like it's good enough. I'll show you what it looks like. I'm gonna put on a glove so I can kind of see if it sticks together with my hands. At least that's my goal. Yeah, that'll work. So you can kind of ball it up and it'll stick together. So it is very doughy, but you still have the thick pecan pieces, so you'll have a crunch to your crust, which is what we want. So before I put this in a pan, I'm gonna show you my 2 pan options. So this is just a cheesecake pan. It's a springform pan. The side, the bottom will come out, or the sides will come out. This is a great option. You could also use a little tart pan like this. Again, the bottom comes out. I really like removable bottom pans or springform pans just because it's really easy to get the dessert out and serve it looking really nicely without messing up the crust. So I would recommend one of these 2 options. This is probably a 6-inch and this looks more like an 8. Either one, you'll just have, a little bit thinner of a tart here and a little bit thicker here. So I'm gonna use this one. And again, I'm just gonna take all of my crust and push that in the center. And this crust is really good, by the way, even by itself. You could make little energy bites out of it and add some superfoods to it. It's really yummy. Okay, so I have my crust, and I'm just gonna press this down as firmly as I can. And this side, this one has some grooves to it, so I'm gonna try to get it to fit in the grooves so that my tart has a really nice shape and design. But again, either of these pans would work. And if you don't have any of these pans, you could use a plastic to-go container for all I care and put it at the bottom of that and get it out with a fork. It'll all taste the same, so it just depends on what you want it to look like at the end. But if you have a celebration or just any special occasion, this is a really easy dessert and it'll impress all of your guests. At least I think it will. So once your crust is really, I'm gonna take my glove off, but once your crust is pretty smooth and even throughout your pan, like I said, I kind of flattened it out as much as I could. I'm just gonna set this to the side as we make our filling. So for our filling, we're gonna do 1.5 cups of cashews to start. And like I said, we're just gonna put all of these ingredients into our blender. So here's my 1.5 cups of cashews, and these are raw, unsalted, and everything like that. And then we're gonna do 1/2 cup of coconut cream. I purposely left this in the can so you could see it. So this is a can of coconut milk that I've refrigerated. So the top part has solidified. So we're gonna use just the top part that's solidified. So this white coconut cream. So I'm just gonna place that in my blender and set this the rest to the side. The rest I'm just gonna dispose of. It's a clear liquid. We don't need to use that in this recipe. Next, I'm going to add my maple syrup, and this is 1/2 cup of maple. You could sub this out for a honey or an agave or a date syrup or anything like that if you want to. I just really love the taste of maple with chocolate. And then I'm gonna do 1/4 cup of cacao powder. I'm gonna add a teaspoon of vanilla. And this is melted coconut oil. So this is a fourth cup of coconut oil that's been melted. So as you might know, coconut oil is solid at room temperature. That's what we need this for. So because this is typically solid at room temperature, it'll help keep our raw dessert solid at room temperature as well. So because it's a raw dessert, we're not baking it or anything like that. We need the coconut oil to help keep it firm so that when we pull it out of the refrigerator or the freezer, it won't melt before we serve it. So a fourth cup of coconut oil. And then I'm gonna add another half teaspoon, or about a fourth teaspoon, sorry, of Himalayan salt. And now I'm just going to blend this until it's really nice and smooth. Okay, so you have to blend this for, I think I blended mine for about 2.5 minutes. Just make sure it's super smooth and creamy. If you see any like gritty pieces, just go ahead and blend it some more. I had to stop mine several times and just stir it a little bit. If you have a tamper, you can use that too. Depending on what kind of blender you have, you might have to add a little bit more liquid, and that won't hurt it at all. So now that I have my filling, I'm just gonna pour this on top of my crust. And it should make in this pan, it's gonna make it really full. And others, you might not be quite as full, and that's okay too. The beauty of raw desserts is it doesn't have to be exact. I was a raw food pastry chef, and that's how I kind of got into plant-based cooking. And I think that was the only way I was good at it, is because baking, you have to be very, very exact. And raw desserts, you have some flexibility, and I loved that piece. So I'm just gonna smooth this out on the top. And I'm just gonna take this and cover this with saran wrap, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and put this in the freezer for about 4 to 8 hours. It can sit there for longer, it won't hurt it at all, but once it's solid, then you can take it out, put it in the refrigerator, and just slice it and then serve as needed. Another fun fact about raw desserts is that you can keep them frozen for probably, several months even. So if you make one and you don't consume it right away, you can leave it in the freezer and it won't go bad. But anyway, I hope you enjoy this as much as we did last night. And be sure to comment, subscribe, let us know what recipes you're looking forward to, and I will be back soon.